he's got binoculars and the music is ramping up, and he brings up the binoculars, and he's got the fucking Captain Planet ring on. I can't even describe what I just watched.
Harry, that is 2 hours of my life I will never get back.
Welcome to the inaugural episode of Real Trash, a trashy show about trashy movies. The Shodals, where we watch the worst, but they only have to watch the best.
We do it for you. We're for the people.
Dools, I pitch this show as basically, we watch terrible films and just talk about it, like, bluntly.
It's a great idea.
But I wanted to start picking movies that I know that I've seen that I know for me is trash, but you haven't seen. And at the end of it, we'll just determine whether or not it decides to be in the bin.
Well, yeah, okay.
So, Dools, what was our first film that we saw?
Our very first film on the show is M. Night Shyamalan's The Happening.
Oh.
Science will come up with some reason to put in the books. But in the end, it'll be just a theory.
I'm sure many of you out there are familiar with it. Whether you've seen it or heard about it, this movie is just straight up f***ing garbage. Like,
It really is.
We'll get into it, but this one's a stinker.
From everything, from the acting, story, the tone, the music, it's just all trash.
Well, that's garbage.
But we'll start off with the plot. The plot's really, well, dumb. Elliot, played by Mark Wahlberg, who gives his worst performance of his career.
What? No.
He's a high school
teacher.
Yeah, high school science teacher.
Yep.
And you find out that a toxin has been released into the air. They don't know who it's from. They think at first it's from terrorists that are making people kill themselves. So Mark gets, was it his ex-wife, Zooey Deschanel?
No, they're married, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. So Zooey Deschanel, who's having this weird tiramisu affair.
We ate tiramisu together. That is it. I told you that would be it.
With with Joey, played by, he's a voice on a phone, but he's played by M. Night.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's like Hitchcock. Like, I'd want to be nowhere near this movie. But
I think we only hear him say hello.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway.
But they see that the toxin has affected all the East Coast, so they're trying to get away from it. So they try to take a train to go 90 miles towards the west. That's the story.
Yeah, so they're escaping this invisible poison in the air, this toxin, this virus, whatever the it is. And I mean, the plot is just about them escaping it while simultaneously figuring out what the is and where it came from. It's insanely stupid.
Yep. It's pure trash. What first annoyed me about this film? Well, the opening credits were stupid, but like what first annoyed me was the Mark Wahlberg's teaching his class, and this one kid's I forgot his name.
He hits on a kid, which is a little weird for me. Straight up, I'm just like, I don't know how I feel about that one. But
this kid named Jake's like not paying any attention, and he's talking about honeybees and about how these honeybees are like of disappearing, and he asks Jake, he's like, why do you think they are gone? And Jake says, an act of nature that we won't understand. I don't know how that's a good answer.
That we will never fully understand.
I don't know how that's a good answer. That's the
general
piece of shit.
It's an answer, but I mean, yeah,
it's the most general piece of shit.
But it's quite fascinating, Harry, because the film almost comes full circle back to that quote, because that's pretty much the ending.
Yeah.
Guess what? It literally, the TV screen at the end of the movie literally just goes. I'm jumping right there. We will never fully understand what happened, and I'm like, yep, neither did I.
Yeah,
this whole movie.
I don't know how this movie got through production. But Dools, we see this moment where people start to kill themselves, and particularly you were angry about the first scene that you saw this.
Okay, well, it first builds up. Yeah, the first scene is in Central Park.
Yep.
I don't think you see anyone kill themselves just yet. Then it cuts to Mark Wahlberg in the classroom. Blah blah blah. Stuff happens, and then it cuts back to New York on the street somewhere. Just people stuck in traffic, and then all of a sudden, there's a policeman. He seems to be affected. Pulls out his gun. Okay. And then it doesn't show you how he shoots himself. You just hear the bullet. You just hear the gun go off, and then you see him fall to the ground. Only you assume he shot himself. Only there's a bullet right directly in his forehead.
Bullet hole, yeah.
And I'm like, so and then it keeps happening. It's the same bullet hole in every spot, and so you're assuming these people literally get the gun in their delusional state and just shoot themselves like this. And I'm like, I mean, it's just the little things, but it's also the big things about this movie.
It's not just the little things.
I mean,
like
it's, but it really just pisses you off. It's frustrating.
So Mark Wahlberg goes to like they're holding like a teachers meeting, right? And the principal says they know it's a toxin that's organic, so they already know that. This is like 2 hours after the first incident, and they go, the stages of the toxin pointing are first you get the slurred speech, then the loss of direction, and then fatal.
Sounds like a typical night out.
Yeah, that seriously sounds like you're drunk, but
Yeah.
you just die. How do they know all these in the first couple of hours? They know exactly the stages of what's happening.
I mean, yeah, I
And
guess.
they know it's organic. How are they
Harry,
able to test that?
You're asking me about a plot hole in one of the worst movies I've ever seen.
But,
I think we should just let it go.
But I'm saying that, like, they said that it's organic, right? They legit said it came from the plant in the first 15 minutes.
At first they
But
first
then
think it's
for, like,
chemological warfare waged by terrorists.
This is so stupid, though, because...
Yeah, I know.
Like, Mark goes up, and he says this one line that really got me, and he's just like, Central Park? That's odd.
Central Park? That's kind of odd.
It's like, oh yeah, because anywhere else will be just particularly fine.
Wait, the first one happened at a park as well.
What? No.
What? No.
Oh, God. Mark Wahlberg. What happened?
Dulls, Mark Wahlberg was wearing this one item throughout the whole movie.
A bit of jewelry.
That really... Okay, so it was like a mood ring, right? Like, it was a mood ring. He kept saying that. But it was a fucking ring from Captain Planet. Like, legit. Like, if you...
Yeah.
We'll show clips of it. There's these sinister moments where it builds up...
I was waiting for him to combine his powers with someone.
Yeah, dude,
I was
Captain
like,
Planet was the only one that can
Why do you
defeat
keep wearing
this
that thing?
But there's this moment where he's he's stopped down the road because he can see bodies at the far end, and he's out. Oh, he's got binoculars, and the music is ramping up, and he brings up the binoculars, and he's got the fucking Captain Planet ring on, and it just takes away any tension.
I mean, you assume it has some... I remember, like, the movie gets to a point eventually where it's just him, his wife, and the daughter of his best friend who has gone off to find his wife, and, well, we later see he dies, yeah. Because he jumped in a car with someone, and then the virus affects them because there was just a little cut in the roof of the car.
But don't worry, he was distracting them with the math. With the,
Oh, yeah. Oh, Jesus
the math riddle.
Christ. And so the guy driving just drives him right into a tree.
I honestly thought that 5-second scene was sick. How they shot that car crash. That was cool. That was 5 seconds out of 90 minutes, and that was the only 5 seconds.
I mean, there was nothing really special about it, but I mean, if we have to look for any redeeming qualities,
we're gonna have to scrape the bottom of the barrel.
I mean, it's a movie.
Yeah,
But, like,
it's a movie.
it's definitely a movie. But I mean,
Is it?
yeah. So, where were we? Yeah, no. Back to the mood ring. It gets to a point where he's traveling with his wife, his daughter, or this little girl, and there's two other kids.
Yeah.
And the kids take the ring from him as a joke, and then he's like, "Give it back! It has meaning to me." And
Yeah, it does. He says that.
what?
Hey, that's not a toy. It's got meaning to me.
Okay, but like you never explain it, and it's like I think the kids in that situation were the audience. They're like, "Why are you wearing this stupid ring?" Take it
Yeah,
off.
and then the
Mark
kid just
Wahlberg.
gives him some love advice. He's just like, "You really gotta let her know how you feel." It's just like, okay, thanks, champ.
Yeah.
But
And then a glorious scene happens, which is maybe one of the redeeming parts. Of
yeah,
it.
yeah. Okay,
But
what
anyway.
was it? No, it's just
Oh,
because
well-
you're up to it.
Oh, okay. Well, we kind of just skipped that. We skipped like the whole.
Yeah, but like you're talking.
All right. I mean, we're honestly not missing anything of substance. We get to a stage. He's still with these kids. They get to an old, seemingly abandoned house
That has like open.
They knock on the
windows.
door for like 5 minutes straight. even though this whole time they think no one's home, until finally they see a shadow moving. Mark Wahlberg starts addressing whoever's inside. He's like, please help us. We got a little girl here. She just needs some food and we'll be on our way, blah, blah, blah. And then these kids start being cocky little shits and then start like kicking at the door and just like, oh, let us in, just give us some help. And
we just want food for the
and
little
what
girl.
happens next, they had it coming. All of a
It's
sudden,
in America.
all of a sudden, we're down. Or are we in South America?
No,
we're-
this was in America. This was near Pennsylvania.
Oh, righto. So yeah, we're in the South. All of a sudden, I couldn't believe he did this. M. Night. A shotgun pokes out from the door and just blows that fucking kid the fuck away. Just right, like he's done for.
And there's like one. That's
But
one
that-
half
but that's
of the
the
problem.
first kid.
It's one half the problem.
And then the other kid who didn't really do much. That first kid,
The other kid was trying to open the window.
Yeah.
Of course.
This poor child, just standing there. All of a sudden, at right at the window, and the shotgun comes out through the window.
Yeah.
Right at his head. Boom. You know what happens. Mark Wahlberg then rushes to the aid of this poor young
Yeah, and
child.
he picks up the kid.
Who's missing the back half of his head.
Yeah, and he goes, "We've got to get out of this nightmare, okay?"
I thought he was going to say, maybe we can still save him, but I was just like...
But he's like talking to the
He's
kid,
still,
and
he's
you
still
can
kind of
see
talking to him, but he's not. I think he's
half
addressing
his
his
head.
wife. It's still nonsensical. It's insanity what this movie is. Like,
Let's jump back a bit because when
back,
they're in the car because they were in the train and the train stopped and then the train conductor's like, we lost contact of who? Everyone. But so they jump in the car and they start to drive like all the way right with that cliche crazy character that's always right.
By the way, I think I know what's causing this.
You do?
It's the plants. They can release chemicals.
Like the one that's like it's the plants at the start and they're like, whoa, dude, he must be high. But no, he's correct.
yeah,
It was the plants.
that was it. That was the movie.
But they come across this private from that's driving away from a military base, and he was a special type of stupid. Like the first thing he says is he comes by, he runs up to them and gives them this 2-minute speech that's pure exposition. Where he's just like, back there, 9 miles back, the toxin has hit them because there's people in barbed wire, yada yada yada, and then he's just...
Oh wait.
The cheese and crackers bit?
No. Just backpedal just a little bit. I thought it was the funniest thing because there were characters inserted literally to explain what was happening.
Yep.
Back in the cafe or the diner or whatever.
Yeah.
It was just like they had just watched the news broadcast, and then all of a sudden the power went, and then one guy stood up and was just like, "We got to get out of here. We got to move out. We're gonna move out where there's no one else." And then one of the guys just stood up and was like, "We're gonna leave now, guys. We're gonna move out."
I remember that.
And
If we stay here, we are gonna die here.
it's just
And
like,
a guy stands up and goes, "It's not happening 90 miles that way. Let's go that way."
I was
Whatever this is, it looks like it's not occurring about 90 miles from here.
like, what the f*** is going on? Like,
Yeah.
I couldn't believe. Just like,
There's so many... this is my problem. Like, the script is one of the worst scripts I've ever seen because it seemed like M. Night was bored because he wrote this. Every character's had these, like, intense dialogues that meant nothing. They were just there for exposition.
What are you saying? That guy was crazy. We have to save them.
They're already dead. What if they're targeting us as threats? I mean, this part of the field may not have been set off. Something in this field could be releasing the chemical into the air when there's too many of us together.
There's like that character I was talking about, the private. He comes up and then and he says the whole his exposition bit, and then all the characters are like, "Oh no, it's back that way. It's back that way. We got nowhere to go." And he just goes, "Cheese and crackers." And then a whole group of people start to come by, and his solution was, "It's happening to populated areas, so we have to go away from the populated areas, but let's stay in groups."
yeah. You know, he said about twice, "Guys, let's split up. You go there, we go there, but stay in a group."
Yeah.
And I'm like,
It made no sense. I thought, like, and he died, which I thought his death was awesome, where he just started screaming my weapon.
I thought nothing about this movie was awesome. Harry,
I'm trying to scrape at the bottom of the barrel because this movie is a clear 1 out of 10. But the thing with this movie is that what's the main villain? Plants, right?
Yeah, and the air, I guess.
Yeah,
the wind.
there was no less than about 5 or 6 times that they had menacing, threatening shots of wind and plants.
Yeah, they literally just had wind just coming at you, and you're like, "Is this what we're running from?"
I was like, "Oh, so the
just to make sure, just if you weren't already clear, just if it wasn't already clear, this is what the protagonists of the movie are running from.
This is the
wind,
daisies, man.
How do you escape wind? I don't know, but they did.
But Mark Wahlberg, of course, gets away from them. They go into this model house. And, like, it's really tense and you think something's about to happen and then he just turns and the camera just stops on this plant. And then Mark Wahlberg goes up to him and goes, "We come in peace, man. We just want some food for the little girl and then we'll leave." He's talking to a plant, Dulls. At what point was Mark Wahlberg reading the script being like...
Harry, he wasn't just talking to a plant.
Oh, this is pretty good.
He wasn't just talking to a plant. He went on and stroked it to be sure. He was talking to a plastic plant. This movie, I mean, I said it to you earlier, I'm not even, like, legit, I'm not even sure how movies like these get made.
No.
And how they just go... Isn't there some sort of vet process where it's just like, should we actually see if this is good and might make a little bit of money back? I think clearly that wasn't done here.
I think they would have made money back because of the director and Mark Wahlberg. I think that's the reason why they had Mark Wahlberg on. Here we go. Opening weekend. They grossed $65 million in the US. And the budget was $48 million.
$48 million?
Yeah. There's a lot of plants there, Dulls. There's a lot of plants.
Oh.
But, Dulls, let's just get to the end. Towards the end, they go to this other house that had this weird old lady in it that came up with Mark Wahlberg's worst line of dialogue he's ever done in his career, where they're just Zoe and Mark are just talking, just saying like, "Oh, we got to get out of here. This woman's being really weird." And he hears a creak, goes to the door, and he says that.
I hear you whispering. Planning on stealing something?
No, ma'am, we're not.
Plan on murdering me in my sleep?
What? No.
Yeah. He didn't sound convincing at all. If I was that old lady, I'd be like, yeah, he's just gonna murder the shit out of me.
Yeah.
No, but her character was just really unsettling for no apparent reason at all. I mean, just
no reason.
She was literally in there for maybe 5 minutes. She dies quite quickly.
Because she walked out into the tomato garden. You don't walk out into the
garden. You got to stay away from...
She had it coming.
The tomatoes.
And then she goes and just starts to put her head through windows, and it looks so stupid. And then, as all M. Night movies, all bad M. Night movies, it just ends so anticlimactically that the toxin.
I'm sure that's a word.
It is, isn't it?
Well, because I remember, because you had already seen this prior, you had already seen this movie at some stage, and so you were like, "Oh, just wait for the twist. It's really dumb." And I was like, and at the end, I was like, "Oh, so how was the twist?" And you were like,
"It just goes away."
Wasn't it that it just goes away? And I'm like, actually, Harry, I believe that's called what we call a ending. And so there was. I mean, M. Night's movies sometimes have decent twists. I stand by the fact that the twist in Signs, atrocious. Not
I love that twist.
Not
personally.
smart in any way at all. Really blowing out proportion. Swines itself is a fun movie.
Swines, I like that movie.
I said Signs.
No, you didn't.
Okay. I'll listen back if I said.
No, I'll play it back. Don't worry.
Alright.
To end this movie, Dulls. So they basically start to live their life. It was like 2 months after it happened or something. They start to like live their life again. They've basically adopted this kid, but they don't realize that this toxin was in New York, in a densely populated city, and all around the East Coast. Millions of people would have died. Millions.
I mean, yeah, you would assume so.
How do they get rid of those bodies? And is just everyone fine now? There'll be a lot of... The unemployment would go down. There'd be a lot of vacant jobs.
It doesn't matter. I mean, it honestly doesn't. I mean,
Yeah.
we shouldn't worry about these things. The movie finished. Just be happy with that. All right?
So
I don't know why I agreed to do this show. The amount of just garbage movies, just the hours I'm going to be wasting. I mean, but I guess we have to do it.
Dulls.
So this was a good start, though. This movie. Oh my god. I reckon yes. People need to watch these kind of movies though, just to like appreciate really good cinema.
Yeah.
Because this is so bad, I can't even begin to explain it.
What?
But
No.
What? No.
we did our best to try and explain it. However, oh look, it made its money back. See, we can't encourage this. Jesus Christ.
Mark Wahlberg brings dollars, man. Puts asses in seats.
He does.
So, Dulls, at the end of it, would this belong in the bin?
Unquestionably.
Unquestionably.
This movie is real trash.
There's no redeeming qualities, I don't think.
Nothing. Except those kids came blonde. I mean, that was just hilarious.
That was hilarious.
That was-
it didn't
that
mean
was-
to be hilarious.
That was
though.
so, like, that was pretty graphic and just so unexpected. I was
Yeah.
like, I couldn't help but laugh.
Yeah, exactly.
I was like...
You were 20 minutes ahead of me in the movie, and you just messaging me, but like, dude, you're gonna love it in 20 minutes.
And then you're like...
straight away knew what you
Straight
away knew what you meant.
Because, you know, that is the worst part of movies, the kids. They're annoying as shit. Yeah, this movie's a 1 out of 10. I mean, no movies... I don't think I've ever seen a movie where it's a 0. You gotta give a point to something, I guess.
Yeah, I thought there was the
minus
clip...
the kids getting blown the up.
There was the clip of where the car crash. I thought that was pretty good. That was really well shot.
Okay.
And where they actually...
We'll get some nice shots of plants, though.
Oh.
Nice scenery. The scenery was...
My garden is going to be decked out after this. It's got me very inspired. But,
Really?
Yeah.
It's instilled a lot of fear in me, I'm probably going to burn my garden to the ground.
Jesus.
To the ground. But yeah.
Thanks for listening. Next time we'll be back. We're not sure what movie we'll do. This is kind of like a test episode to see if it still works. But whatever it is, you just know it's going to be real trash.